What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to this new episode, a little bit of a new format. I asked you on IG, what is your definition of daddy issues or mommy issues? You answered me, and so I just want to do this little video and depict a little bit what it actually is, how it affects us as an adult, more specifically, and how we can deal with it in our relationships, albeit romantic or not. When you hear daddy issues, you tend to think of, oh, women or girls have daddy issues. Men, boys, you do too. So this video will be separated in different subtopics. The definition according to you beautiful people, according to myself, your life story, and how daddy or mommy issues manifested in your life. And I will tell you about mine, and then I will tell you also what I think can be a solution. Now, let's be real. This is not scientifically proven. Anything and everything that I will say is purely my own trail of thoughts. So do not come here in the comments and be like, yes, but this is... Okay? You either come in the comments because you want to compliment me, or you want to share your own experience regarding the topic that we are discussing. Don't come here and tell me that I'm wrong, because everything that I'm saying is just my own POV. All right? Okay, let's go. The definition of daddy issues or mommy issues, or just issues with your primary caregiver, whatever they did, whether it is positive or negative, influences your behavioral response when you are around other people, and also it influences your behavior in your day-to-day life. So how you are as a person, seeking for attention, seeking for validation, something that came up a lot of times. I'm looking at my phone right now. Doing everything and anything to get male approval fits into the box as well. Dating older men to escape from home early. That one I've never heard of, but it kind of makes sense, because especially if you have an absent father physically, I think you will crave that person who can, fill in that role. A lot of you said a photo of myself. Please elaborate, because I know what you mean. Just like your life is the definition of having daddy issues, or the way that you behave is a definition of having daddy issues, but it would have been nice if you clarified a little bit more. Someone said, my dad is present and spoils me, so I just feel like for me, he set the bar high for any man. I do not have that experience, so I can only imagine how hard that must be if you are out there, you're dating, getting to know people, and you're like, no. For someone who didn't have that, I feel like it's easier to search for something that you never really had, because you cannot compare it to anything else. But if you can compare it, although comparison is never good, comparison is a thief of joy. Also, people who have lost their parents due to, passing away, something that was beyond their control, something that was natural, and you just try to fill a void that the parent left, whatever that is means in your particular situation, someone wrote. So people that talked about their mommy issues, they went all in. For me, it's mommy issues, and it's a deep-rooted lack of self-esteem, a belief that I'm only worthy if I behave and perform in all the right ways, not knowing myself truly because I lived to please others in order to not be rejected, fear of abandonment because I believe I deserve the abandonment, and to the point of self-sabotage that you actually provoke being abandoned. Then at least I had some false sense of control over the situation. Social and relational rejection is the very worst for me, and I have trouble accepting it as a normal part of life. I hear you. I make my self-worth depend on not being rejected by others, which of course isn't healthy. Therapy was extremely helpful to discover my ways of faulty thinking and breaking those patterns. I was raised by my dad's single parent who raised three girls. Mom was out of the picture from my childhood until my adolescent life. So I have mom and dad issues. And I think a lot of us actually, especially when you have one parent who is absent, you have both issues because your parent who is left behind has to fill in two roles. So of course it's going to create some issues in the long run for your children, even if you don't realize it. With me, it manifests itself in a lot of ways. I would say in particularly the abandonment issue. So very I was on the phone and I took this earring out. That's why the light also changed. Ugh, Jesus. Recording is such a hassle. Anyways, let's get back into it. Having abandonment issues, the seeking of validation, especially when I was a young girl. As a woman, I have the total opposite. We'll get into that. And also not trusting men. Not trusting men. At all. So, yeah. Why is it actually important to be talking about mommy issues and daddy issues? I just feel like for our generation, the millennials and even Gen Z, for those who are early in that department, if you want to procreate a descendants in this world, on this earth, then you need to be aware of yourself. You need to do a little bit of introspection, not even a little bit, a lot of introspection on who you are and why you are the way you are. A lot of people have these characteristics and they're just like, yeah, but this is just me. No, honey, it's not just you. It is you because something happened in your youth and you are either not aware of it or you've suppressed it and now you actually do not know that this is what makes you feel angry, lash out from the moment that something is not going your way. This is why you have difficulty trusting people when they say they're going to do something and you're trying to micromanage whatever they said they're going to do. This is why you reject everything and everyone that does not fit into the ideal box that you have created for your future partner. I feel like our generation, we are very much aware, more or less, a lot of us, we're trying to work on it at least. We are aware of our triggers. We are aware of why we are the way that we are. And that wire system is important. Why? Because you are going to give that to your children. So whatever it is that you have in you, you're going to give it automatically to your children. I'm speaking about characteristics, huh? Obviously you're gonna give them DNA, but so it's important to know like where does this all come from. And for people who are in that introspective journey, please also talk to your parents, and if you can, to your grandparents as well, because what we see, I say we, but what I've seen, this is not scientific, a little reminder, but what I've seen and what I've noticed is that my parents have a lot of trauma and triggers that they have not dealt with because they were always in survival modus. Children, first and second generation of my grandparents, gather here because we got a lot to talk about, but we're not going to do that here. But yeah, we should really do an episode on that. But in general, parents, they're human, extend grace to your parents. So really try to find out, how were they brought up? How were my grandparents towards my mom? How were my grandparents towards my dad? And you will see the things that they did or did not do. It will show itself in how you were brought up. So for example, my mom had a really weird relationship with her mother, with my grandmother, although she is an excellent grandmother, like literally the best. She will love on you, but she was so tough on my mom for numerous reasons. First of all, my mom was literally the apple of the eye of my grandfather. Like, You know, men can be like that sometimes with their daughters. Sometimes, I don't know why, but they just love on them. You know, my grandfather only had one son, and it took a couple of girls. I think it took 5 girls before he had a son. So, and my mom was always like, you know, very go-gettery, very hands-on and proactive. So I guess in that culture, in Congolese culture, you would attribute those characteristics to a boy. So I guess that's why my grandfather was so attached to my mom. Knowing that my mom had like this estranged relationship with her mom made it for me so obvious that we are so tight, that she's like more of a helicopter mom even. What your parents lacked, they will try to make up for it with you. And that can be a good thing or a bad thing. It can start as a good thing and end up being a bad thing, something that traumatizes you or something that creates a certain issues. So for example, me, I have daddy issues. We'll get to that because that's the easy part. But the mommy issues, that's only something that I discovered growing up being a woman. When I stepped into my womanhood, that's when I realized like there is something, like we just had a lot of friction because me and my mom are like this. When I say like this, like just a little anecdote just to say how much we are like this. So for example, we were at my niece's baptism or communion. It was the communion party. Little story time. It was the communion party, and I was going to the parking lot, dropping something in my sister's car, and there were these guys, you know, and there was nobody else on the parking lot, just me and those 2 guys. They were like in between, so I only saw them when I was passing through. And then I heard one of them say like, "Yeah, stop staring at her butt. I'm talking to you." And then the other guy responded, "There's nothing to stare at anyways. I'm listening." It was in Lingala. So for those who speak Lingala, you already know how dirty that all sounded, okay? So me, I hear it, but I have a big mouth, right? And I'm like, okay, bet. So I step back when I'm going to the venue. I'm stepping back over the parking lot, and I tell them in Lingala as well. I tell them, listen, next time you say these kind of things, you should know who you're talking to and who you're talking about. I am the little sister of the one who's organizing this party, who's feeding you and making sure that you have drinks. So be respectful. Walking off. Ilingala, walking off. Okay, so I go inside. I tell the whole story from A to Z to my mom. She's like, "What? Don't they know who you are? You are Reine. You are a queen. What? Don't they know who you hang around?" And I was like, "Oh my God, mom." And she was literally pouring me wine and like, "Oh my God, who's that guy? Show me that guy. Who's that guy?" So just to say, like, we are so like, in French we say complicité. I don't know what the word is in English, but we have like this complicité, like me is her, her is me. If you come for me, you're coming for her, and if you come for her, you're coming for me. And I am not like, I'm a pit bull. I will bite your head off. For my mom, I will, and she will do exactly the same. But so to come back to the mommy issues, we have that, which is super cute and super, like, I love that part of us. But there's also a part that I discovered later in therapy, is that she actually brought me up to be her in every single way. That's what she did. She brought me up to be her. And I don't think she did it deliberately, but there's always this part of what I couldn't do, you should be doing, because I see that that is going to bring you happiness in the long run. So for example, my mom, she never finished school. She was a teenage mom. So for her, it was so important for me to have a degree. It didn't even matter what kind of degree. I just needed to have a paper that said, you have a diploma in da 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 da. After high school, obviously. But I think even, no, it wouldn't fly. I want to say even if I stopped after high school, but no. So yeah, I have my professional bachelor in journalism, and I could have done a master, but I was so sick and tired of school after that. Like, ugh, I don't know how y'all be doing masters, PhD. I cannot with the system. The system? No. Obviously, I love my mommy so much. She's the best person alive, and she did what she could and had to do. But I just think that for my children, I'm really happy that I can break those generational curses or generational, whatchamacallit, generational behaviors. Generational behaviors, like regardless of how good of a person you are, of how good you have managed your triggers and all of that, you've dealt with all of your past trauma, you're healed, quote unquote, hashtag healed. No matter what, you are going to cause triggers and issues with your children. Just accept that. It's part of parenthood. It's inevitable. Just to summarize on the topic of get to know your parents, get to know their history. I know it's difficult as a child, whatever age you are, to go to your parents and ask them something that you feel like they should give to you naturally. So, for example, tell about their history, or ask you about who you are, who you turned out to be, because that's something that parents often don't realize. They just raise you and they think like they know you, but they actually have no clue who you are, how you think, how you operate, what you don't, what you like, what you don't like. Handle that as a relationship with a stranger that you are trying to get to know for a multitude of purposes, in this case being it that you want to have a loving relationship with this person, especially those with a migration background, because I feel like we are so traumatized as a whole, because living in this white society just comes with trauma. You are attacked every day and singled out for who you are, where you come from. So all of these things is actually a burden to a lot of our parents, and they have no time or even the notion of stopping and breathing. Because we are out here, look at me, I'm doing this video because this is a luxury. Actually, it's a luxury to even be thinking about this, to make a video of this, to be posting this online and having y'all comment on what it is to have daddy issues, what it is to have mommy issues. I know for a fact that my mom did not have the time to do that because she was working overtime. When I say overtime, I don't mean like, oh, she was working until 8 p.m. No. She was working around the clock, making sure that me and my brother are being fed, making sure that my siblings arrive here in Belgium with us because they were still in Congo. All of these things with her own little pockets that were eventually not so little because she made all of this happen. So be graceful. Once again, be graceful towards your parents because they are going through a lot, and we don't see that until we actually grow up mentally and physically and realize that actually they are humans too, and they are just doing what they can with what they have. So let's cut them some slack. Not all the slack, but let's cut them some slack and also accept them for who they are, because I feel like a lot of daddy issues and mommy issues are rooted in this expectation of wanting your parent or caregiver to give you something that they just simply cannot give you, whether it is emotional, physical, financial. They just can't because they don't have the capacity, and that's something that you need to learn how to live with. Why did I want to do this topic of daddy issues in the first place is because I was on the phone with a friend of mine last week, and I was just literally, it just came into my head. Me and my father, we don't have the best relationship, to say the least, but I was just thinking, like, what if tomorrow he's not here anymore? How am I going to feel? Am I going to feel a certain void because we never really established that father-daughter relationship that I've always yearned for? And so is it going to leave me with these daddy issues for the rest of my life? Or is this something that I can do right now to make sure that I do not transmit those issues to my children? And I mean, as a parent, you're operating in unknown territory, right? So there's no blueprint to be a parent. There's no blueprint to be a good father or a good mother or caregiver. So everyone is just doing what it can, and obviously we all know right from wrong, but every situation is different, every human being is different. So all of these layers actually contribute to how well or how poorly you're going to be as a parent. We all grow up in different households. So our household is the blueprint of what we think is normal. So if you grow up with a single mother like myself, you will think it's normal how she behaves in certain areas of life, whether it is in romantic areas or not. If you were raised with both parents in your house, lucky or unluckily, you will see certain dynamics and you will consider that as normal. I hope that was in the best way possible and that your parent was not only a good parent but also a good partner, because that's also a thing. You can be a good parent but then a shitty partner, and that also translates in how you are as a parent. What you do not want as a woman is to be playing games with a man that you're in a relationship with, especially if he's the father of your children, because having children just adds an extra stress to this life. Nobody tells you. I'm not a parent myself yet, but I can already tell by the parents whom which I am surrounded with, they are going through it. Like, it's not for the weak. Honestly, it's not for the weak. That's why it's so important to have the right partner next to you, because you are in charge of someone's life. Like, you wanted this life to be into your life and on this earth. So you have a huge responsibility to make sure that everything about this life is treated in the most careful way with the most love possible. And if you can double the love, then why not? So what you don't want as a parent or as a partner, I'm going to talk from the female perspective, you don't want your partner to be acting like a child so that you will be treating him as a child. Because I often hear this. I asked him to do this for 15,000 times, and now I just ignore the fact that I've asked him to do that, and I give him little to no attention, and now he's acting like a big ass child wanting to seek validation with you, and he's doing all the things that you asked him to do 15,000 years ago. So you see there's probably mommy issue or daddy issue. Maybe both, a combination of both, when your partner starts to act that way. And also when you as a woman resort to that by default, you don't have any other choice, it creates this weird dynamic in your relationship, because now you're playing games. Like, you're being Rugrats, you're being casted by MTV Rugrats, and you're just following the scripts. I mean, who wants to do that? Who wants to be with a grown-ass child? Nobody. Also, for women, do not act as a little girl. Do not throw tantrums when something is said about your behavior or your character or whatnot. Like, take it as an adult, try to communicate with your partner, and that's it. All that we can do right now is do better than what we've learned and what we've seen. When you're accepting the bare minimum, that's the same thing as what you expect from a child. You know, you're not gonna ask a child to extend themselves and to think about certain dynamics. You're not gonna ask them to work on their communication skills like you would ask an adult. That's why it is really important that you do not accept the bare minimum and that you realize what the bare minimum actually is. Or else you're gonna be in a mother-son relationship or in a father-daughter relationship, and that's not what you want. So your caregiver, who is the sole caregiver now, becomes the solo parent who is going to make sure that you never feel that void, and is going to try to fill that void with overbearing attitude. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but they will just do anything and everything to make sure that you do not feel like you are lacking a parent in your life, especially if you don't see that parent, if you don't really have a relationship with the parent that is missing. We're at this age where we are parents, and some of us unfortunately have split up with the other parent of their children. So if you are in that situation, you should be really mindful of how you speak on your previous partner, because that also will affect how your children act towards you, towards themselves, and towards your partner. or ex-partner. I'm speaking from experience. My mom, well, she did not have many nice things to say about my father, and I resented her a while for that because I always felt like she kept him away from me. Little did I know it was really in my best interest. Unfortunately, my father has never been able to be a father to none of his children. So it's something that I have to live with. Not every parent who gets to be a parent, which is a blessing, realizes that it is a blessing and acts accordingly and makes real genuine efforts to be in their child's life and to contribute to the upbringing, to whatever that person needs, that child needs. Anyways, to come back to parents, your child will act exactly like you. So if you show to your child that, hey, I'm your sole caregiver and you're fine, that's what your child will adopt as a behavior. And I feel like a lot of children who grew up with single moms have, we had to be these independent women, and here we are being independent. I don't need a man, all of that. You know how we are. All the women, if you're independent, all that. Obviously, the choice of your partner is what comes from what you have experienced as a child, for me at least. It is so important to just know yourself, know that what you're doing, how you're acting, is that because you are that way, or have you been conditioned that way? Yeah, sorry, I need to put my hair back. Is it just because you were raised in a dysfunctional home and now this is your reality, or you think this is your reality, or you think that this should be your reality, and you don't actually have made time and space to figure out what you want for yourself, how you see your future? Is it the future that your parents have dictated for you, or that they have dreamt for you ever since you were a little girl or a little boy? Or is it actually because you want to do this, you want to have this life? Like, for example, for me, I never wanted to be an independent woman. Like, I do not care being an independent woman. And okay, yeah, I have proven that I can do all these things. I am amazing at several divisions in this life. If this was a competition, I think I am definitely in the top 5 of whatever medals that we are attaining in this lifetime. But being an independent woman and taking care of everything by myself is absolutely the trenches for me. Like, this is the ghetto. I do not like it, and I want to get out fast now. Please, thank you so much. So I get that for my mom, that was something that was crucial to her, because she had to depend on us in a certain part of her life. Not on my dad, obviously, because he did not do that. But when she was back in Congo, like, that is also just part of the culture. Like, you have a woman, you take care of her in every possible way. You take care of her family, financially, all these things she was so used to. And then for her, it just took away a lot of her freedom, I guess, and she did not want that for me. She wanted me to make conscious decisions based on what I would want for my life, but then she did not realize that she would actually also try to dictate what I want for my life, by being there and saying, like, you need to be independent, don't count on a man, which is also true. Like, please, girls, have your own money. Have your own money, no matter what. Even if your man is a billionaire, have your own money. Even if it's his money, but make sure that you have access to it, and only you. Like, that is a non-negotiable. And if he does not let you have your own money, then get out. Get out. Take some money and get out. That's also something that I had to learn, that is actually what was happening, because I was like, at a certain point, I think it was like in my late 20s, I was like, it's cool and all being an independent woman, but what is it actually doing for me, other than feeling like I'm overextending myself? I am tired, like, I do not trust men. I want to trust men, but why do I not trust them? All of these questions were coming up, and then you go to therapy, I highly recommend go to therapy, and then you realize like, oh, okay, these are stemmed from mommy issues. Like not trusting men is definitely a part of daddy issues, but being hyper independent is a mommy issue that I had to deal with. I'm also not someone who's easily flattered. As I said before, like when you do something for me, especially as a man, like you need to prove yourself over and over again. Like keep on doing that, probably indefinitely. And if you're not willing to do that, I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is my cue. This is my cue to leave. For me, being with a man who expects me to be an independent woman or to do 50-50 or whatnot, that is just something that I cannot live with, because I feel like that would contribute to the mommy issues and the daddy issues that I'm trying to get rid of. And so I feel like I need the opposite. I need someone who would say to me, you know what, beautiful person, beautiful lady, sit down, I got you. You do not worry about a thing. You just sit there and look pretty and do whatever you feel like doing and whatever is going to contribute to your well-being and your happiness. And maybe for some people that's like, okay, you are feeding into toxic masculinity, blah, blah, blah. As I said before, I am a black woman. I'm a Congolese black woman. Heterosexual, so this is just my perspective. Obviously there are other platforms who can talk more on the different types of relationships that are, but I can only speak on what I know. So what I know is I want a masculine man who will come and be like, baby girl, sit down. Sit down, I got this. I know you can do it, but I got this. And I want to do this for you because I value you as a queen. Period. Period. That's when I open up. When I see like, okay, you're making genuine efforts and you're actually taking the time, because that's also something. People do not take the time to actually get to know you and see past what you are portraying in that moment, in the brief moments that you interact. I'm talking about dating life specifically, but it can also be friendship or other family relationships, really, with cousins and whatnot, people that you don't hang around every single day. But it just takes time to get to know a person. And so I always appreciate when people make that effort and actually try to get to know why you act in certain ways, why you think a certain way, why you speak a certain way. So for me to release that insecure attachment, I just need to see someone who is willing to show up every single day. Obviously I will do the same, but I just need to see, from a male perspective, someone who will show up every single day and who is going to be there in the thick of it, because that's something that I've never seen, even in relationships that I've seen throughout my life, whether it is parents of my friends or my uncles, my aunties. I cannot recall a single relationship that I'm like, oh, okay, I look up to this, or this seems like a healthy relationship. I know it seems crazy, but trust me, I've thought about this and there isn't. But what I see now is with my generation, for example, I have cousins who are absolutely amazing to their wives, and it makes me actually hopeful to find that for myself in this lifetime. To find someone of our generation who is, who is aware of certain things and who is open to go to therapy if something is wrong, who is open to listen to you and to understand where you're coming from, and obviously you're going to do the same. I just feel like I'm someone who gives a lot already, so I need to make sure that I am with someone who is willing to, go through all that to make sure that we have the utmost and best relationship ever. I think it just takes the right person, meeting the right person who you can have genuine conversations about these kind of things, and just to understand each other and see where both of you come from, what is your upbringing, and what led you to feel that way or react. If you have a good partner in your life, you automatically will talk about this pretty early on, and you will see that it's not like it shouldn't be a hurdle or a deal breaker to get with someone and even get married, have children. Both of y'all, everyone has mommy or daddy issues. So the thing is, find out early on for yourself what are your daddy and mommy issues, and then when you get into a relationship, you can just lay everything down on a table and puzzle how it's going to fit with the two of you. Everyone needs to unlearn. If you want to be in a relationship, in a healthy relationship, you need to unlearn a lot of things. Not everything that we have seen is something that we want to take with us when we are building our own family. Not everything that we have heard, not everything that we consume today is something that we want to apply to our own lives. So please be mindful of that and keep on learning and unlearning everything that does not serve you in the most decent way. Also, as I said before, get to know your parents, get to know your grandparents if possible, and get to know yourself also, because all of these generations have made you who you are today. So you need to know where you come from to know where you're going. So cliche, but it's actually so true. So if you're an overachiever, you're out there killing it, you're getting master after master, finishing your PhD, like, is it because you actually want to, or is it because you are craving a certain title, you're craving a certain attention, because your parents told you, like, oh, if you are seen like this in the world's eyes, then you have achieved a certain something, and then that means that you are valuable, then it means that you are worthy of loving, then it means that you are worthy of whatever you want besides that. So please be mindful of that. And if you are doing all these other stuff, putting yourself last, you're people pleasing, remind yourself, is it because you actually love people that much, which is possible? Or are you afraid that they will leave you because if you don't show them that you are of service to them, that you are useful, that they will not acknowledge your presence, that they will not acknowledge how lovely you are, that they will not show you any love or recognition because you do not really serve a particular purpose, serve quote unquote. Also, see your parents for who they are. We're all human here. Everyone makes mistakes, and you cannot change people that do not want to change. So if you see that is the case, as for me, I have to make amends with the fact that he's going to be however he is, and that's just it. And it's up to me to get over that and move on in the most healthy way possible. Having mommy or daddy issues is not a death sentence, please. And people who use it as a weapon to say, like, oh yeah, but she has daddy issues, oh yeah, but he has mommy issues, oh yeah, vice versa, it's normal, okay, because we come from humans are faulty, and we're gonna have issues regardless. You can even have issues from hanging around the wrong friends. So what are you even talking about? Stop weaponizing it and just find a way. If you are a person who thinks that they don't have any of those issues, and if you care about the person who does have, try to find a way to communicate that you're there for them, that you're willing to figure it out with them. That just shows you, or that shows them, sorry, that shows them that you are actually there to care for them regardless. And I think for all the issues, regardless which issues you have, it's always nice to know that there's someone out there who is willing to be with you in the nitty-gritty, or to be with you when everything comes down, when shit hits the fan. And yeah, they're just there for you and with you in that space, and they want you to feel better, and they're going to help you get out of that nasty place. That being said, you can still make it out with or without a significant other. You can make it out of your mommy and daddy issues. You can thrive. You can have healthy relationships. Just do the work, you know? Just do the work. Don't be afraid to ask what you desire in partnerships, in any relationships, really. If you are like me and 50-50 is not really your cup of tea, then do not entertain that. Simple. Don't. Just to end this on a positive note, whether you have daddy or mommy issues, you are worthy of love. You are worthy of everything that you desire, and you are worthy just for being on this planet. As long as you don't hurt anybody else by your actions or your words deliberately, then you are worthy. You are. Okay, so don't forget that, and remember, if there's something that you want to add, if you want to share your own experience of having mommy and daddy issues, please comment below. We are not here to contradict anything that I said, okay? I'm just speaking out of my own experience, just everything that I've seen and heard in the last years growing up. This is what I'm coming to tell you, okay? This is actually a very impromptu video that turned into a less impromptu video, but it's still very much impromptu. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on all the platforms, and I just want to thank you for listening to me and watching this video. That's what's up, beautiful people.